Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you guys for coming through here for us to review the top 25 AP poll rankings for scheduled for week 7 here. So we'll go ahead and dive into it. But man, did we see a lot of upsets here, and we'll get to those upsets here once we go through these games here. But it'll be interesting to see how far did the committee drop Alabama, and also who's going to be ranked number 1 now, who's going to be ranked number 2. What about Oklahoma and their impressive comeback against Texas without their star quarterback? All those kind of questions, and we're about to find out some answers here. All right, so we'll start off at the top here. You can see at the AP poll, top 25, they've got ranked number 1, University of Georgia. And since Alabama went down, I cannot argue at all with putting Georgia number 1. I mean, Georgia's got a tremendous defense. They went on the road to Auburn, which is not an easy place to go down to, and they won convincingly 34-10. We saw what they did the week before against Arkansas. I mean, so yeah, they're putting together an impressive resume, and so they deserve to have the top spot in the country right now. No arguments there. Putting them at number 1, that certainly makes sense. Now, obviously, the big game for them will be, next week they will get a matchup against Kentucky, and Kentucky's an up-and-rising team, but we'll discuss that later. But, yeah, Georgia's putting together a very impressive resume, and I like what I've seen so far from the body work of this team. They passed the eye test. They're passing the resume test, and so all the check marks are being checked there. Love what I'm seeing from them. At number 2, you have Iowa. They came back against Penn State. I kind of projected that they would beat Penn State, but it was a close one. They won 23-20. Penn State played one heck of a game, but at the end of the day, Iowa came away with the win. And when you beat a team that was already ranked in the top 5, it's no wonder why the Iowa Hawkeyes are ranked number 2. So I think that's perfect. 1 and 2, putting Georgia 1, Iowa 2. I like that thus far. At number 3, going with Cincinnati. I wasn't sure if the committee was going to possibly put at number 3, if they were going to put Cincinnati, maybe if they were going to put Alabama at 3, or if they were going to put Oklahoma. I wasn't sure what they were thinking in terms of number 3. I know Cincinnati, the week before, they beat Notre Dame. And then you look at what a team like Cincinnati's been able to do just this past week. I mean, they've been taking care of business. Honestly, I know they played on a Friday. They beat Temple. And I know Temple's not the biggest names program out there in terms of just rankings and stuff, but they did win convincingly 52-3, took care of business. And so I can certainly see why the committee put them at number 3. Not going to argue that. And I'm really excited for Cincinnati here to be ranked number 3. If they can go out there, continue to win and convincingly, that's going to be important for them along the rest of the way. Continue to win convincingly to show the committee they deserve to be up there. And when it's all said and done, let's see where they are when the smoke all settles. At number 4, Oklahoma. Now, the committee had been dropping Oklahoma time and time again. They got off to a very rough start. Quite frankly, I'm still not too impressed with their defense, even though they held Texas to just 10 points in the second half. A lot of missed tackles out there. However, with that being said, I love what Caleb Williams brought for this offense down there at Oklahoma when they were able to come back in an impressive comeback against their rivals, University of Texas. And so Texas fell apart in the second half. Oklahoma got it going, and they were able to win. So they moved up from 6 to 4. And so I understand that. However, I still probably would have had Bama ranked over Oklahoma, because there's no doubt in my mind, if you put Bama versus Oklahoma, Bama's going to win more times than Oklahoma. That's just what my eye test tells me. I still think that, I know Bama lost, but we'll get to Bama in a second. But putting Oklahoma at number 4, I get it, but I probably would have put Bama still above Oklahoma personally. At number 5 is where they have Alabama ranked. And so it's like I said, I feel Alabama, honestly, if we're just going off of pure talent, they'd be up in the top 3 still. But given the fact that they did lose, I probably would have put them at maybe number 4, still above Oklahoma. But for right now, the time being, they are below Oklahoma because they do have a loss, and Oklahoma has found ways to win about 4 games. That was like 1 possession. So they're finding ways to win. That's the good news. So for Bama, obviously, that was losing to an unranked team. That was a surprise. Like you don't see that happen up under Nick Saban a lot. And so losing like that to Texas A&M, that hurt. That was a surprise, but I'm sure that this team will bounce back. I've got no worries about Alabama moving forward. I know that Florida did play them close. That just shows that they're human, but they'll bounce back. They'll be ready. You best believe that moving forward. At number 6, The Ohio State University. So Ohio State, they went ahead, went out there. They convincingly beat Maryland 66-17. And so they did win that. At the time, Maryland only had one loss at the time, and it was a Big Ten game. So, yeah, putting them at number 6, no arguments there. I like it. At number 7, Penn State. Putting them at number 7. I mean, some people probably could make the argument for maybe putting them at number 6, but I think number 7 is the perfect spot for Penn State. They lost a very close one to Iowa that they very easily could have won that one, but they didn't win. So ultimately putting them at number 7, I agree with that one as well. At number 8, Michigan. And so Michigan, they went out there and they pretty much struggled, but they had to fight really hard to beat Nebraska. It was down in Nebraska, I get it, but 32-29, I'm not going to complain. I've seen enough throughout the season right now to where I'm like, I'm okay with them being put at number 8. I know they were previously ranked number 9, so they did move up. It was on the road, nighttime game, primetime game. Those are hard to win. So taking those factors into consideration, the fact that they were able to finish that game, I mean, their quarterback said it best. In the past, previous Michigan teams would not win that game, but they found a way to do it. They are 6-0, so put them at number 8. I got no argument there. And the Big Ten is well represented in the top 10, I must point out. Now, number 9, Oregon. They did have a loss to Stanford last week, which is why they dropped. Obviously, winning this week and rebounding, that was big. But, I mean, Stanford lost to Arizona State, so that loss is looking a little bit worse now for them. But the season's not done for them. They can still control their own destiny in terms of just going out there, winning, showing what you can showcase, and then we'll go from there in terms of just seeing how things are going to play out. But I love this offense that Oregon possesses. I feel like this is one of a very unique offense. And I know that they lost their running back, I think, for the season, if I'm not mistaken. That does hurt whenever you lose a back like that. But being able to rebound, good for them. And, yeah, putting them at number 9, no arguments there for me. Now, number 10, Michigan State Spartans. And so the Spartans, putting them at number 10, they was previously number 11. And so I definitely feel that they are a good team, and they did win against Rutgers here. It was another game in which the defense were able to showcase what they were able to do. They did it against Rutgers here. They did it against University of Miami at Miami. And so I've seen enough to where I believe that this team being ranked at 10, I like that range for them. Somewhere up in that area, I feel. If you want to put Kentucky a little bit above them, I got no arguments with that. But I feel like them and Kentucky, they can go either 10, 11, 11, 10. You can swipe them either way. But speaking of Kentucky, at number 11, I mean, coming off of all these impressive wins. I mean, that win over the University of Florida, that was impressive right there last week. And so this week, to follow that up, I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from them. I mean, they beat LSU 42-21. So I want to see just how they match up this week against the University of Georgia. So I'm going to be really paying attention to that. But I feel like Kentucky rose to the scene lately, and I'm really excited about seeing what they've got moving forward. Let's move on here. So next up is Oklahoma State. And so Oklahoma State, when I think of Oklahoma State, I historically think of offense when it comes to this team. Same with Oklahoma. But putting them at number 12 right now, I mean, they are 5-0. They haven't lost a game yet. Of course, I'm going to want to see for them later in the season in terms of how they're going to match up against a team like in Oklahoma. But putting them at number 5, putting them at number 12, number 12, because they're 5-0. No arguments there. I cannot argue with that. They've got a pretty good offense, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from this team so far this season. All right, so in terms of number 13, Ole Miss. And so coming off that loss in which, I mean, when will Lane Kiffin learn not to trash talk before a game? But he lost to Nick Saban and company, and it was not pretty. It wasn't as good as the score made it seem like at the end. But they bounced back nicely, and they won an extremely close game. Lots of offense down to the wire. Literally came down to the wire versus Arkansas. I was proud of both of those teams bouncing back, understanding it was a bad week, but that does not represent who you are as a team. It was just a bad week for them. Bounced back, and they were able to go out there and showcase that high-powered offense that we've come to expect this season for them. And I really do love their offense here. And they were able to win by 1 point and prevent Arkansas from winning by stopping them from getting the 2-point conversion. So big-time win for them. Happy for them and where they are in the program. Speaking of where they are as a program, Notre Dame survived against Virginia Tech. I knew when I saw this game, I was like, this is a trap game. But coming off of a loss, I knew Notre Dame had to be ready, and I thought that, there was a chance that Virginia Tech could win, and they almost did pull it off. But Notre Dame was able to still win, still on the road at Virginia Tech. I know Virginia Tech wasn't ranked, but that was a matchup that going down there, that's always a trap game. If you're going to overlook Virginia Tech, believe me, that is a trap game. So, yeah, obviously, congratulations for Notre Dame being able to pull that win off, and so putting them at number 14. I probably would have put Coastal Carolina above them at 14, but either way, can't really make an argument there. So yeah, speaking of Coastal Carolina, they're taking care of business. I mean, you have to like what you see from Coastal Carolina. The only thing that's preventing them from moving up higher is it's really just the competition, guys. Like I know they're 6-0, but they're gonna have to beat a lot of they're going to have to start playing teams that are higher ranked, I should say, in terms of just if they want to move up a lot quicker. That's the only thing that's holding them back, honestly. I mean, you can't help some of the times who's in your conference, who you play. You just have to win the games that's on your schedule. So this is not a knock against them whatsoever. But I'm just saying, if you're going to see them take a higher jump, then yeah, you're going to have to see them go out there and compete against some tougher competition and win. But I am excited about what I'm going to see from them in Week 8 going down to Appalachian State. Appalachian State's a team that if you're not careful, they can sneak up on you. So if they can go out there and convincingly win that, maybe that's something the committee can look at. Number 16, Wake Forest. They played a close one against Syracuse, but for this team, all I want to see them do is continue to find a way to win. Someone has to rise to the occasion in the ACC. It could be Wake Forest. And so putting them at 16, I think that's perfect. They're a team that they need to focus on one game at a time. Just go out there, worry about who's coming up, and just find a way to win. And that's what they've been able to do so far this season, as they are 6-0. So happy for them. At number 17, Arkansas, off the tough loss, which they lost to Ole Miss. Lots of offense in that one, scoring 51 points, but yet still falling just shy of being able to win that game. Great way to rebound after that Georgia loss for them. So was really happy to see that for them in that offense. This team, they're better than what they looked against Georgia, and they showed that here against Ole Miss. A lot of pride for this team. Excited to see how they're going to finish the season moving forward. And so next up is number 18 will be Arizona State. So Arizona State, they won against Stanford. The same Stanford team that the week before was able to beat Oregon. So that was a pretty big win to be able to win, even though it was at Arizona State. So they jumped up from 22 to 18. They are 5-1 on the year. And yeah, this is a team that we'll continue to keep an eye out for in that conference and see where they stand at the end of the year. But that was a big win for them, and excited to see what they're going to be able to do moving forward. Now, BYU, that was a surprising loss that they took last week. Not going to lie. Did not expect to see BYU take that L, but they did take an L to Boise State 26-17. They were at home as well. So they were ranked, I think they were ranked like top, what were they ranked? They were actually ranked 10. So they fell 9 spots here. That goes to show, like losing to an unranked team at home, especially Boise State, that's not going to bode too well for you. And so that's why they fell there on the poll. Just slightly above Florida, which I can't argue because Florida's now lost 2 times. I know one was to Alabama, but Alabama's shown, that they can be beat. And I mean, this is still a good team. I still think that Florida's a good team. They can have a good season. But for the time being, they're currently going to remain at 20. So in spite of the results of the last game, they're still going to remain at 20 despite beating Vanderbilt. I mean, 42-0 against Vanderbilt. I mean, they probably could have beaten them worse than that, honestly. So it was Vanderbilt. So yeah, you get no credit for that one, even if it is an SEC opponent. Okay, so at 21, Texas A&M. And so Texas A&M, they went from not ranked to going back within being ranked here. Obviously beating Bama. Big win. Jimbo Fisher and company needed that. So they went from unranked at 4-2, beating Bama. So that's almost like it erases a loss for you if you get a win like that against a school like Bama. They was able to go out there and play to a high intensity, play a complete game from start to finish. And at the end of the day, they were able to win a shootout. So there you go. Congratulations to them. That was the biggest win of anybody this week. That's an understatement, just saying that. But the biggest win is to be able to go down there and shock Alabama, which nobody saw that coming this week. At number 22, you've got North Carolina State. Last week, that was ranked 23, and now they're ranked at 22. So this is another team in the ACC to keep an eye out for in terms of potential who's can rise to the occasion, maybe get a couple upsets, and at the end of the season, see where they stand in terms of the conference standings, honestly. But we'll have to continue to monitor that moving forward in terms of what they're going to be able to do with that. At 23, you have SMU. Last week, they were ranked 24. They are 6-0, so SMU's doing a good job. They did barely beat Navy 31-24, but it was on the road. And so, but good job getting that W there for them and remaining undefeated. And we'll see what they do the rest of the way. At 24 is San Diego State. And so San Diego State, they're currently 5-0. So really excited. I'm really excited for this school right here to see them 5-0. I want to see how they're going to do the rest of the way. They were able to handle business against New Mexico as I expected, 31-7. And so really looking forward to seeing this team continue to progress. They're showing that they are a top 25 team. I like where they're at right now. That's a good spot. And at 25, they've got Texas. They dropped from 21-25, just like they dropped the lead in that game, in which they had no business losing. I probably would have made them just unranked, but the committee was nice about this because they did lose to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is ranked, up there in the top 5. So definitely I understand that putting them all the way to 25, but I probably would have had them unranked there. But then again, I mean, when you compare them with some of the teams that received some other votes, like in Auburn, Clemson. I mean, Auburn didn't put up a fight against Georgia, so I guess I understand that decision right there for sure. But with that being said, yeah, so that's our top 25 heading into week 7, guys. Definitely looking forward to some really key matchups that is going to be coming up next week. For sure. And of course, I'll be streaming Saturday, one of those games. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so that way we can see which of these games I will be streaming next week. But there's going to be some good ones for sure, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts about the rankings and as well as some of the upsets that happen, which teams are teams that you feel are on the rise, which teams are falling. Just give me your thoughts on where we are right now in college football and what you expect to happen. Certainly looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much for making it this far into the video. Really appreciate you guys, and see you guys next time.